You know, in the crypto world, everything is about moving fast, right? It's often just total chaos. But there's this one project that has always, and I mean always, stood out because it chose to do the exact opposite, to move slow on purpose. That project is Cardano. It's a blockchain that wasn't built on hype, but on patience and some serious scientific research. So the big question is, how did this super deliberate, almost academic approach end up creating one of the biggest players in the whole crypto space? Well, let's dive in and find out.
Okay, so to really get what Cardano is all about, you've got to start with this one core idea. A question that basically just flips the entire crypto playbook upside down. Just think about it. What if instead of just, rushing code out the door and fixing it later, you built a blockchain with the same kind of precision, the same peer review process that goes into a serious academic paper?
And that question, right there, leads to the three words that have defined Cardano's entire journey from day one. It's not about being the first to market. Nope. It's about building slowly, deliberately, and most importantly, securely. This is the whole philosophy we're going to unpack today.
All right, so let's jump right in at the beginning. We're talking about a blueprint that looked, well, completely different from just about everyone else.
The big idea, right from the get-go, was this concept called formal verification. Now, this sounds super technical, but stick with me. It isn't just about, testing for bugs after you've built something. It's about using pure mathematics to literally prove that your code is correct before it even goes live. The whole goal here was to build systems for really high-stakes stuff, think finance, identity, that are as close to bulletproof as you can possibly get.
And this right here just perfectly shows the massive cultural divide in crypto. I mean, it's night and day. The normal way of thinking is move fast and break things, right? Get it out there. Cardano's approach, the total opposite. Research everything, let academics tear it apart in a peer review, and only then do you actually start to build. It's a marathon, for sure, not a sprint.
So because of this super methodical approach, there was this long, pretty quiet period where all the foundational work was getting done. So let's pull back the curtain and see what was really happening behind the scenes.
So the project was founded way back in 2015 by Charles Hoskinson, who you might know as one of the co-founders of Ethereum. The main network actually went live in 2017. But, and this is the key part, for the next 3 years, the focus was almost completely internal. All that quiet work led up to the 2020 Shelley hard fork. This was a massive upgrade, and the first really big step toward true decentralization, because it finally allowed the community to start running the network themselves.
I love this description for that time. It was the nerdy building era. Seriously, while all these other projects were out there chasing headlines and hype, the Cardano team was just heads down, buried in research papers and code, just quietly building the absolute core engine of the network.
And the crown jewel of all that nerdy research? It was a system called Ouroboros. You can think of this as the very heart of the network. It's the consensus protocol, the thing that secures every single transaction. And here's the kicker. It was the world's first proof-of-stake system that was provably secure. This was a huge, huge breakthrough because it shut down a lot of the early criticism that proof-of-stake could never be as secure as Bitcoin's proof-of-work.
And man, the second that Shelley upgrade went live, the community response was just instant. We're talking over 1,000 community-run stake pools just fired up, seemingly overnight. This created one of the most decentralized networks out there. And really, this was the moment that Cardano stopped being just a project and started becoming a real, living community.
Okay, so now we get to the really exciting part. This is the phase where all that patient foundational work finally started to pay off, and the entire ecosystem just, it exploded into life. The big turning point came in September 2021. I mean, think about it. After 6 long years of development, the Alonzo hard fork finally went live, and with it came smart contracts. This was the key that unlocked the entire network. It finally meant developers could build dApps, decentralized applications like exchanges and lending platforms right on top of Cardano.
And wow, did the market react. The enthusiasm was just incredible. The price of its token, ADA, shot up to an all-time high of about $3.10. For the community and the team, this must have felt like a massive validation of that long, patient journey they'd been on.
So, with smart contracts finally live, the ecosystem just started to blossom. We saw the first wave of projects launch, things like the decentralized exchanges MinSwap and SundaySwap, and lending protocols like Meld. This was it. This was the first time users got a real taste of what DeFi, or decentralized finance, could look like on Cardano.
Yeah,
Because of all this crazy activity and excitement, a lot of people call 2021 the promise year. And it makes sense, right? It was the moment that all the theory, all the potential that had been talked about for years finally started to become a real, tangible thing that people could actually use. But hey, launching dApps, that was really just the beginning. The next huge challenge was staring them right in the face, making sure the network could actually handle mainstream, real-world adoption without grinding to a halt. So how do you do that? Well, to achieve that kind of scale, Cardano, like a lot of other blockchains, is looking to what are called Layer 2 scaling solutions. The easiest way to think about it is like an express lane built right alongside the main highway. It lets you have way faster and cheaper transactions without causing a traffic jam on the main network.
Cardano's main scaling solution is called Hydra, and honestly, the concept is just brilliant in how simple it is. Imagine you and a friend open up a private tab between just the two of you. Inside that tab, you can make hundreds of little transactions back and forth, instantly, with basically zero fees. It's only when you're all done and ready to settle up that the final result gets recorded on the main blockchain. It's a seriously powerful way to scale things up.
And that brings us pretty much to today, to the current era of development. And what's cool is it's kind of split into two big phases happening at the same time. You've got the Basho era, which is all about scaling. That's where tech like Hydra comes in. And then running in parallel, you have the Voltaire era, which is totally focused on governance. That means building all the systems needed to eventually hand over complete control of the project to the community.
And believe me, the road ahead is absolutely packed with cool stuff. The upcoming Chang hard fork is a big one. It'll officially kick off that Voltaire era, giving anyone who holds ADA real voting power over the project's treasury. And beyond that, the focus is on connecting with other blockchains, and also this really cool idea of RealFi, which is all about using crypto to bring financial services, like loans and identity, to people in developing nations.
Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. And it might just be the most important piece of all. The community. The people who have been supporting this vision from the very beginning.
And the scale of this community is just massive. We're talking over 4 million wallets, more than 3,000 active stake pools running the network. And if you look at the code development on GitHub, it consistently ranks as one of the most actively developed projects in all of crypto. I mean, the health of this network is just undeniable.
This dedication, sticking with the project through all those long, quiet years of development, it's earned them a pretty unique reputation. People often call them the most patient community in crypto. And it fits. It's a group of people who really, truly believe in that long-term, research-first vision.
So, that leaves us with one last, really fascinating question to think about. As the network gets ready to literally hand over the keys to its treasury and its entire future to this very community, will that legendary patience end up being Cardano's ultimate superpower? The one thing that helps it survive and thrive in the crazy, volatile world of crypto? It's something to think about.